Welcome to Horrors Yet Unseen, the podcast where we assign each other horror movies to watch and then talk about it so our spouses don't have to listen to us go on and on and on about scary stuff they don't like. I'm Zach.
And I'm Steve. Let's talk about some scary movies. By the way, there will absolutely be spoilers in this show. You have been warned.
Well, I did, speaking of Australians, did you click on the link in our show notes?
Oh, I will do that now. No.
Okay, so...
Rippy's gone rogue?
Just for those
Red.
listening, I found a tweet from Bloody Disgusting
That's hilarious.
that says that a zombie kangaroo movie is coming this Halloween. It's called The Red. I've not seen the trailer yet, but it's a zombie kangaroo. And my first thought when I saw this poster and read that tweet was, has horror always been this bad, or are we just in another dimension when it comes to this stuff? Because, like, I know that there have been bad horror movies. Like, B movies have been... I should say this. Out of all of the genres, we've talked about this before, horror seems to be the one genre where you could just kind of throw anything at the genre and make it into a horror movie, a.k.a. like Winnie the Pooh, like the beloved friendly teddy bear that is Winnie the Pooh.
Or clowns.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, well, clowns are just inherently freaky. Let's be honest.
Well, especially from outer space. Yeah.
The ones from outer space are deadly, dude. They give you pizza and pie you in the face. It's wow, turn you into cotton candy. Anyway, but this just seems.
What makes you think that The Red, Rippy's gone rogue, about a zombie kangaroo? Why do you think that's a bad movie?
I feel like you already answered that question when you just asked me that question. Why do I think that a zombie kangaroo is going to be a bad movie?
I would have said Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Just the concept of that phrase would be a bad movie.
You have like you have said both the concept and the movie's terrible. Like. But that's a hill for me to die on. That's a great movie. I'm
not saying anything, but no judgment. Just the sound of it sounds bad. But I mean, it was clearly a classic. You know.
Yes,
I have nothing bad to say about Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
I feel like you're holding stuff back. That's fine. The truth will set you free. It's fine. You can be your true self here on this podcast, but also don't speak disparagingly about those clowns. One of the Christmas gift that you got me is on my desk.
Well, I mean, looking at the photo here that they have in this article, I mean, it looks pretty cool. I mean, those big kangaroos are pretty scary, just alive.
Well, yeah. Did you see that? Did you see that video of the one attacking that dog, and then the owner of the dog beat the crap out of that kangaroo?
Yeah. Punched him?
Dude, he punched him. And the kangaroo was like, dude, what's happening? But the kangaroo is also this jacked kangaroo.
Yeah, and they can also, like, go back on their tail, and they can kick you with both feet and break your sternum.
Yeah, I mean...
I wouldn't want to mess with those guys.
I just think that I'm at least cautious about a zombie kangaroo movie. Will I see it? Of course. I will definitely.
Absolutely.
I have to. It has my interest. I'm not too sure that I would go see it in the movie theater. I also don't know when this movie is coming out. I guess it's in cinemas in Halloween, I guess, is when it's coming out. But
when's Halloween this year?
Thursday, I think.
Thursday what? Is it October or something?
31st of October.
Right.
That's that's the wildest thing that you're like, oh, when is Halloween? Okay. They'd be like, dude, when is July 4th again?
Yeah, and this week I'm planning to go see the Cuckoo.
Ooh.
Cuckoo, whatever.
Okay.
Cuckoo. And hopefully next weekend I'll go see Romulus, Alien Romulus.
Yes. Here's the thing. I've never seen any of, well, I shouldn't say any. I've never seen any of the original Alien movies.
Which ones have you seen?
I think I've only seen like the new ones, the Covenant,
Prometheus. Have you seen Prometheus?
Prometheus. Yeah,
Oh,
like that.
Prometheus.
Like that line of Alien movies.
Yeah.
So I think on my October list this year is the original, or at least the first two, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So because this one takes the third, because this one takes place, I think, in between the first and the second one.
Really?
Yeah, I'm almost positive that it takes place in between. Maybe I could be wrong with that one, but
I hadn't heard, so
I want to see it, but probably I want to watch them in order at that point.
Yeah, it's between Alien and Aliens. You're right.
Yeah. So
it's 20 years after the first movie.
It's just for the references. Like I don't, and I could probably watch Romulus without seeing the first one and still be able to get spooked and think that it's a great movie. But part of me does just now want to watch at least the first two before I go see that one. And yeah, I do want to see Twisters, and I do want to see Trap.
Okay.
And there's another one in the theaters that I want to go see. I have to look it up now. Cuckoo, yeah, I could go see Cuckoo. I clearly just need to spend a day at the theater like I did before, even though that was a heck of a day. Yeah, Trap, Cuckoo. I guess that was it. Oh, Borderlands has like a 10% Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, dude. Like I saw it launched
debuted
with like
at
0%.
Like it was, granted, the screen grab that I saw of Borderland Rotten Tomatoes was only, the 0% was only out of 10 reviews. But it hasn't gotten entirely better. It's only I think it's currently sitting at like 10%, which is wild to me that they kept postponing this movie to make it better and do it justice and all this jazz. And out of all of the effort that we gave, just as a species, to this movie,
as a species,
just as the human race, we gave so much
we banded
energy
together.
Exactly. We're like, no, we got to postpone it because of this and because of that, blah, blah, blah. We want to make it really great. And then the audience was like, no, this is terrible. Don't go see this movie.
Audience is 51% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Well, that's still not great.
The reviews are 10% though.
Yeah.
94 reviews. I mean, 51% is better than half the movies we see.
Yeah, that's probably true. So I got a at Discussing Films on Twitter says Borderlands is estimated to open below $10 million domestically.
Wow.
The budget was $115 million. So it is 100% going to be a flop.
Oh wait, so look, the Alien series is set less than 2 decades after the Prometheus duology. So Prometheus and Covenant are 20 years before Alien. So you're watching them in the chronological order.
Technically, I am. Yeah.
So you watch Alien, then you go watch Romulus, and then you go watch Aliens.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know why they're making movies like that. It's freaking stupid to me.
Yeah. Somebody
make them in order.
I got an idea. Sorry.
Just make them in order. Make them in order. Don't be like, I'm going to make a movie called Alien and then make another movie called Aliens, which is already confusing. Okay. Alien 2. Knock it off. Okay. And then, come on.
They should have thought
That's
that
like
through,
Twister
right?
and Twisters. And I'm like,
yeah.
It's a sequel. No, it's a remake. And I'm like, then shut your mouth.
Yeah.
That's wild to me. Stop.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't really think through the aliens because in the third one, they can't say aliens is like count the number of S's at the end or something. I don't know.
Alien.
Like
just make it completely singular.
The Fast and the Furious series, like the numbering on those it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, because it's Too Fast, Too Furious, and then The Fast and the Furious. And I've never seen any of them. They're garbage movies for garbage.
They're garbage movies.
Yeah.
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 It's like
I've also never seen any of the John Wick movies.
Dude.
I need to watch those. Yeah.
Those are good. I mean, if you like headshots.
Speaking of movies that we want to watch, what movies did you watch this week?
I had a light week.
Okay.
Don't know why.
So only like 8 or 9 movies?
So I saw a pretty funny movie called Don Verdeen.
Mm-hmm.
It's a comedy, and it stars
everyone that's funny.
Sam Rockwell, Jermaine Clement, Amy Ryan, and Danny McBride, and Will Forte.
Yeah.
So some pretty funny folks.
Mm-hmm.
And Danny McBride, of course, he is kind of one of the main characters in Righteous Gemstones.
Yeah. That might be one of the greatest shows ever made.
I know. He created Righteous Gemstones, and he's like main writer. But he also plays like this evangelical pastor guy in this movie.
Amazing. He plays such a good evangelical pastor.
He does. And Sam Rockwell is just genius in this. He plays a biblical archaeologist.
Yeah.
Who ends up having to lie about some stuff to like cover his tracks.
Yeah.
It's just so funny. Coming from that world myself.
I had lunch with our good friend Brad. Shout out Brad.
Brad. Yeah, I recommended you watch that.
I had lunch with him and he was like, "Hey, Steve recommended that I watch this movie called Don Verdeen," and I was like, "Dude, he totally recommended it to me too." But I hadn't watched the trailer yet, so he pulled it up, turned his phone on, and I watched the trailer, and man, it was just so stupid. It's such a funny movie. Anything that Jermaine is in is
funny.
Gonna be one of the funniest movies you're ever gonna see. You get like Taika Waititi and Jermaine in a movie, lights out. I'm really looking What We Do in the Shadows is one of the funniest movies I've ever seen.
So funny. Also, he and Taika are in a movie called Gentleman Broncos. Have you heard of this one?
There is
It's so funny.
I'm looking up something right now because there is a new thing that they're going to be in. I saw a movie poster for it.
Taika Waititi is hilarious too.
Maybe it's an old thing. Oh, Time Bandits. It's an Apple TV thing. It's called Time Bandits, and both of them are in that.
I also saw In the Mouth of Madness.
Okay.
A John Carpenter movie.
In the Mouth of Madness?
In the Mouth of Madness. It's a horror movie.
Okay.
And it stars Sam Neill. It's on Shudder. But it's like this guy's like is he going insane or is the world going insane but it's kind of considered a classic. It's got really high marks on every place has pretty high rankings for it. It was like 2.5, maybe 3 stars for me out of 5.
Mm-hmm.
But it was Sam Neill does a good job playing an insane person. I'll just say
I did not like Event Horizon as much as I wanted to.
Yeah, same here. It had a lot of possibilities. And then I rewatched The Conjuring.
Okay.
And it wasn't as scary as I remembered it. But it's,
yeah.
It's still good, a good scary movie. I just the amount of just like religious stuff with a lot of these possession movies and stuff. It's like I've said before, it always comes back to some priest speaking Latin and saving the day.
Right.
Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2. Saw that. And then I saw The Perfection again. I just finished it up right before we podcasted, because I forgot how weird that thing is.
Yeah.
And other than that, I've been watching. I wanted to recommend quickly a good girl's guide to murder. It's a show. It's like a 6-episode show on Netflix. It's pretty
Mm-hmm.
good. And also, if you do have Apple TV Plus, the show Lady in the Lake is fantastic. Natalie Portman is stars with Moses Ingram, and they're both amazing in this movie. And it's not really it's kind of horror adjacent. It's more of like a mystery thing, but it's really, really good. Natalie Portman is just the
Lady
best.
in the Lake.
Mm-hmm. So it's like a 8-episode series thing as well.
Got it.
Not only movie. But what'd you watch?
Well,
Anything?
I also had a short week. Dude, work has been freaking wild. We're implementing a new ERP system. Like I think I told you about that. And it literally is just all hands on deck. And so we're trying to we have a going live date, but that has been taking up the majority of my time. Is trying to get proficient at this brand new system. Yeah, so that's one of the reasons why I've only been watching like 1 or 2 movies.
Yeah, you haven't lived until you've dealt with an ERP change at a company, right?
Dude, it's freaking wild to me. The majority of people are just whining about stuff, but I started in September.
Yep.
So I still am not entirely proficient at absolutely everything when it comes to our current ERP system. Like I can do exactly what I need to do, but I'm already in the mode of learning. Yep. I've only been there for less than a year. Everybody else has been there for 4 or more years, so they're way accustomed to the.
So they've got to unlearn stuff.
So they have to. I don't have to do that. I don't have to entirely unlearn stuff. I'm already in the learning mode, so it's coming a little easier to me than it is them. So our sales meetings are just a lot of them griping. shout out CVC sales team. You guys are champions, but also whine less. And drink more. Like, just come on, let's go. Yeah, so I watched The Perfection, and then I also watched the first episode of the TV show called Eric on Netflix.
Yeah.
It's with our good friend Benedict Cumberbatch. Shout out Benedict Cumberbatch. We're going to have him on the podcast at some point. I'm just going to manifest that into existence. Yeah. Also, I just said our good friend Benedict Cumberbatch, like we know him, but you know.
Well, as far as anybody else knows, we do.
Yeah. I mean, I know old Benny.
Good old Ben.
Yeah. So that's fantastic. Have you heard about this show called Eric?
Yeah. That's like his son disappears and he's a puppeteer or something.
Yeah. So I watched episode 1 and that was great. It was. I don't know how many. Like it's a limited series. I don't know if there's going to be more. Yeah. Or if it's just a one-off.
I think it's a one-off.
Yeah. So I don't. Other than outside of episode 1, I have no clue what else happens. But yeah. So just The Perfection, and episode 1 of Eric. I did see on Shudder's Instagram that they're going to have a documentary called Horror's Greatest.
It's on there already, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, Horror's Greatest Moments, is that what it is?
It's called Horror's Greatest.
Oh, maybe.
It says hits streaming with the first episode on 8/27. So
okay, it's a different thing.
Very different, yeah. But I'm going to use that as a preview into other movies that I have wanted to see but just haven't seen yet. So.
Yeah, I was thinking of like they have a kind of documentary series called like Greatest Moments in Horror or something. I started watching it, but it's like so many. It assumes that you've seen every horror movie on the planet.
What's that one called?
Scariest horror movie moments of all time. The 101 scariest movies.
Wow. So we're definitely going to put that on my list. Wow, 8 episodes. That's really cool. I want to use that as like, a good entry into watching some other horror movies.
Yeah, it's probably. I mean, I just hadn't got back to it, but it's probably a good way to build a list of horror movies that you need to see.
Yeah, I do need to. I need to start opening up Shutter a whole lot more. I never freaking open this stupid thing. What the heck? I want to watch Exhume or Exuma. I want to watch. What the heck is that movie called? Humane.
Oh yeah,
The concept of that one is very interesting to me. I mean, about volunteering to die because humanity's using up all of its resources or whatever. Like,
yeah. I didn't know the backstory of that one, or the concept of it, or whatever.
yeah, humane. It says
on my list now. Oh, Caitlin, is every single Cronenberg like making movies?
Must have.
Caitlin Cronenberg, huh?
It's in their DNA, man. I kind of do want to watch The Coffee Table, but maybe not. I might watch it if I'm feeling adventurous.
If you're feeling like you want to be super depressed.
Yeah. Yeah. I might watch it. I mean, like, I might watch the first 10 minutes.
Right.
I might watch until they get. Here's the thing. I'm curious about what you had said with they get the coffee table, the mom goes away, the dad's watching the kid, the baby gets his head cut off, and then the dad just basically leaves the baby's head under the sofa or whatever and moves on like nothing really happened. I want to see how that got played out.
Okay.
Outside of that, which that might be now that I'm really thinking about it, that might be the most sick and twisted thing. That's the worst part of the movie. That people are like, "Oh my gosh, this is the worst part of the movie," and I'm like, I want to see it.
Well, it's why we like horror movies. It's like exploring the edges of humanity's ability to do things. Really, it's like pushing the boundaries.
I guess, yeah. I'll report back on how traumatized I am after watching that one. So
I can't wait.
yeah. Do you want to just jump right in?
Yes. Let us jump in with both feet. So, Zach,
the
internet's an amazing place.
That is accurate.
It is good and bad. On the bad side, I was able to use the internet to watch Blair Witch 2, Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2.
Correct. Yes.
On the good
Another
side,
completely idiotic title. Like, just call it Blair Witch 2, The Book of Shadows, man.
So that was the bad side of the internet. The good side of the internet is I found out why I hated it so much and what happened. And
fantastic. Why. Great. So I would like to hear all of it.
This may be a bit of a surprising thing. So let me quickly go over the movie. I don't spend too much time on it because as I was taking notes, I was taking like pretty copious notes through this whole thing, and I realized this movie is just like the weirdest collection of somebody does the thing, somebody else does a thing, somebody else does a thing, and they're not connected. The storyline is all over the place. So it starts out. It takes place in like our world, sort of in a world where the Blair Witch Project, the movie, happened like it happened in our world. And all that stuff, and it actually starts out in the town of Burkittsville, Maryland. And apparently, when they filmed the second one, they actually went to Burkittsville, Maryland, and they got run out of the town because people were like, "Get out of our town! We don't want another one of these stupid movies." Yeah. So there are a few interviews with actual residents there, and they're actual residents of the film or the movie. The town. Sorry, the actual residents of the town. Yeah.
I love the interview at the beginning of the movie where because I watched the first like 10 minutes of it just to really dip my toe and remember how bad this movie was. I'm so sorry that I made you watch it now. I got to like 11 and a half minutes and I went, oh no, I'm going to have to really apologize to Steve. The best moment was like, but the interviews in the beginning of this movie were some of the best, like just one-liners. The one lady was like, yeah, because they're selling those stick figures.
Right.
Like people are selling those stick figures. And she's like, yeah, some people just wanted some rocks, but we can't mail rocks because they're rocks. And I'm like,
mailing rocks is expensive.
So I went out to the backyard and just dug up some rocks and they thought about it and they gave me like $10 for them. And I'm like, what is this? But what made it funny was imagining people genuinely going to this real town and buying into the fact that there is this, because of the marketing of the movie, buying into the fact that these 3 people actually did die because of this completely fake lore. And then, the townspeople just being this small town just being overwhelmed with all of these freaking morons who are like, yeah, I want to buy sticks from the woods that are, twined together in the shape of, and the residents are like, yeah, fine. That's fine. I'll take your money.
Yeah. Well, and I didn't realize this until I watched a video about it, but that for the first movie, the website for like talking about like these 3 people who disappeared, it was up online for like a year and a half before the movie was released. So it had like kind of gotten a bit of a following from people just like looking it up. And so it really lent to the, this is a real thing vibe.
Right. Is that in the Wayback Machine? Can we go to that website?
I don't know, probably. It was online until 2008, I think the person said. Anyway, so so the movie is not, it starts out, you think it's going to be more like found footage like the first one, but it's not at all.
Right.
I mean, found footage plays a large part in this movie, large role, but in a way you wouldn't expect. So it's the characters in this, they're all named by the actual first name of the people, just like the other movie. Like Jeffrey Donovan, by the way, who he's in other stuff, and the fact that this movie did not tank his career at the beginning surprises me. He's a dude who gives people Blair Witch tours around town. And there's also like weird clips of this movie when he's like in an insane asylum and they're putting like goop down his nose or something. It's like, and by the way, those scenes never come into the movie ever again. No reason why. No reason.
Yeah, they shoved that. How long? First off, how long was that tube? Because that was in the very beginning of the movie. I was like, how long is this tube? And like, they are just, at some point you would think you would hit something and be like, oh, this is the stop. We have to stop now because we've hit the bottom of an organ or wherever you're putting this tube, right?
They just kept putting it in.
And they just kept shoving it in his face. And I was like, dude, it's also done from the profile. So it's clearly that it looks like they're shoving it in the furthest away nostril.
Yeah.
But it's really just kind of going down his cheek but the fact that they just and then they just dumped this
white
Nickelodeon goo down his that's exactly this slime down his.
It was the most stereotypical cheeseball like asylum that you could possibly have. Ever.
Yeah, sped up footage so that it looks like they're going crazy and very 2000 stuff. I loved it.
Absolutely. And he has the dumbest lines in the whole movie. Like one of the people that goes on the tour that he's taking on tour is a Wiccan. He's like, a Wiccan? Wicked good. And that time he lets him know that this is the first time he's taken anybody on the tour, and he's like, we're all virgins on this bus. I just like so many
good
freaking lines. And then there's Tristan and Steven, who are a couple planning a documentary or doing research on Ellie the Blair Witch. Tristan, the woman, believes that it was possibly real, and Steven thinks it's stupid and fake. Erica is a hot gal who says she's a real witch, and she does like weird spells, and she's ridiculously condescending and weirdly horny all the time. And she says things like, "Only those who don't understand witchcraft would be afraid of them." Like, and I'm here to shed my mortal coil and commune with Ellie the witch. And I may be a witch, but I still have to eat, poop, and die just like everyone. We just look good doing it.
Oh my gosh. What the what?
And then there's Kim, the super goth gal who's maybe a psychic. Either way, she's way too broody to be taken seriously. And what with her like white, pale makeup, it's like really bad.
Does she not look a little bit like that actress in the original Blair Witch Project?
A little bit.
To me, that she looks like it's like, hey, we need somebody who looks like this, and we'll make them super weird, or not. I shouldn't say weird because that's judgmental. Super goth or whatever it is, and But when I first saw her again, like this time around, I was like, she very much kind of looks like whoever that actress was in the original.
Yep. And so, I mean, I won't go through the entire breakdown of the movie because it's just not worth it. But what basically happens is Jeff takes them all out. They want to go on a tour to see the Blair Witch stuff. Mm-hmm. And first place they go is the house where the guy died. They're like the very last place that they go in the movie.
Yeah.
Where
he stands in the corner. Yeah.
Right. Stands in the corner, and like the tapes are found and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first place they go, and they're going to spend the night there. I guess it's going to be a multi-day camping sort of trip thing. And they set up camp, and they're like smoking weed and drinking alcohol. It's like just blasted out of their minds.
Yeah.
And somewhere along the way,
it's a normal camping trip.
Who doesn't do that, right?
Just a completely normal camping trip.
And they also set up cameras all over the place to capture anything that might happen. There's like 12 cameras or something stupid set up all over the place. Anyway, they're sitting there, and another tour guide comes along with another tour group, and they get into this like tussle and like, which one we're here first and all this crap. So that they kind of scare off the other tour group, and they're never seen again. Then so they drink and smoke themselves into oblivion, and they wake up the next morning, and they don't have any memory the night before, and there's like shredded paper all over the place. The cameras are destroyed, all this stuff. And Kim, the sort of psychic goth person, says, "Oh, but the tapes are over there." And so she somehow knows where the tapes are. They find the tapes. They leave and they go home. They go to Jeff's place, which is this converted toothpaste factory or something. and they go to his place, and they look at all the tapes, and they're like, "What's going on in the tapes?" And then they realize they have to play the tapes backward, which doesn't make any sense because that's not how tapes work. But so they play it backward, and they see like Erica spinning around this tree naked in the video, weird stuff. And then they realize, holy crap, we slaughtered all these people when we were asleep, because it turns out the other tour group was all killed, and they somehow did that in their blacked out state. Then it seems like Tristan's possessed by the witch, and all this stuff's going on. It's like everybody is going crazy. Erica and Steven seemed like start getting it on, and then they realize they were just hallucinating or something. Then Erica disappears, and Kim goes to get beer. It's like I said, all these things it's like people doing stuff that doesn't really connect at all. Mm-hmm. So then they find out that they killed the group, and also I should say, all the way through the movie, there are random flashbacks or flash forwards or whatever to different members of the group being interrogated by the most stereotypical like small town sheriff you could imagine.
Yeah,
lots of yelling, and at the end of the thing, they finally figure out that they really did kill all those people, and they have it all on tape because all the tape was there, and somehow they were all just going crazy. And what you think is happening was all wrong, because the only truth is on the tapes. And apparently one of the guys, Jeff, near the beginning, he's like, he says video doesn't lie, but film does. And so you realize that anything that you see in the film was possibly wrong, but the videotapes that they had that they were looking through are true. So, but they remember nothing about it. And along the way, Tristan has a miscarriage. Then she bounces back from like, no problem, just moves along, like no big deal. I'm like, that's not how that works either.
Mm-hmm.
Then Steven like hangs her at the near the end of the movie because they thought she was possessed, and then it turned out she wasn't. Anyway, long story short, horrible movie. No continuity, made no sense. I'm like, this is so. How did this happen? Because
Yeah.
you got like the best, one of the most impactful like horror movies in a long time, the Blair Witch Project, and then they come along and like throw this crap at the wall.
Yeah.
So I looked it up, and holy smokes, this movie, I feel so bad for the director and anybody who was a part of this movie.
Was it just rushed?
No, it was completely stripped and retooled by the producers. Totally, crap. They totally effed it up.
Yeah.
Like all of the scenes that I thought were stupid and I hated were added later. Like the entire concept of Jeff being in the asylum, not a part of the original movie. The scenes of them, the intercut scenes of them like brutally slaughtering the other group, totally not in the original movie. So what happened is that the studios like made bank on the Blair Witch 1 because I don't know if it still holds the world record, but at the time it held the world record for the most percentage ratio wise, highest percentage of profit for a movie ever, because they spent like $10,000 filming it, and it made like a bazillion dollars, and so they wanted another one of those, and they found a guy who had won awards for his documentary work. And they're like, okay, we now have another documentary guy. Let's make another one of these things about another group of people who go to the woods and die or whatever. So they got some sort of semblance of a script together, and they hired this dude who ended up directing it. And he's like, I'm gonna do this the right way. Like he didn't want to just redo the first movie, which makes sense because it's been done.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to do something different. So each one of these characters apparently was meant to be kind of an archetype for different people who it was supposed to be a movie about the reaction to the movie. And so
yeah,
Jeff was supposed to be a guy who's like super fan, just loves it, loves everything about it. And then the Wiccan girl Erica was supposed to be representing the Wiccan community, the real life Wiccan community, which was very unhappy with the first movie and how witches were portrayed.
Mm-hmm.
And then Kim was like the goth person who just loved like the scariness of it. And then the Tristan and Steven were supposed to be the people who like thought it was fake, thought it was real. And anyway, they're all supposed to be actual archetypes of people. And then it was supposed to like have this commentary sort of like under the surface sort of about things. And apparently it was a really good movie. And there's not a director's cut out there, like official director's cut, but I did watch a video from a guy on YouTube. He said he found an interview with the director who kind of explained how the movie was supposed to be. And so he recut it himself. The guy on the video on YouTube, he recut the movie himself to be that way. And he's like, it's a fantastic movie. It's like really good. But they wanted more gore. There was like, it's not gory enough. And like the first Blair Witch wasn't gory either. But I mean, whatever. So They wanted more gore. So they made him film the scenes about the gore stuff. And then there was no single villain in the movie. So they wanted to make it look like Jeff was going to be a villain. So they made up this stuff about the insane asylum. Just like everything they did. And then after he recorded all this stupid stuff that they forced him to do because something about contract or whatever, then they re-edited the entire thing, put it in random order all over the place. And so that's why it's a trash movie, because they made it a trash movie. Apparently it started out being really good.
Yeah.
And it's like, if studios would just quit thinking that if X works, then X need is always going to work. This is always going to work. It's always going to be popular and make bank. That things change. Let artists do what they want to do.
Yeah. Leave creative people to be creative.
Absolutely.
But don't just look at spreadsheets and dehumanize people,
Yep.
or look at spreadsheets and just be like, oh, well, we're just going to follow the money, and we know you don't know.
Yep.
You're there to hire the creative people to be creative. Let them be creative. When you step in, virtually every time a studio steps in, the movie is immediately ruined.
Yep.
Don't have any, we have some notes. Shut up. You're there to bankroll this movie, and that's it. And sure, you may be able to rein some stuff in because this is the budget and we can't go over budget. Fine, but let the creative people just be creative.
Right. And I think that's one reason A24 has been so successful.
Yeah.
Because they generally just say, here's the money, make a thing and do your best. And they let people do their thing.
Yeah.
It works out.
Right.
So it was kind of cool. I did find out that throughout the movie, there's like hidden words, like randomly. Yeah. Like there's a scene where they're around the fire drinking and smoking pot. And like in the fire, like if you pause the movie at the right spot, there's like a word that says seek, like in the fire. And so there's all these words along the way, and it says, and you find these words and you put it in the right order. It says, seek me no further, and then near the end of the movie, Tristan says something in reverse. She says, Irf Klawa Naga Lil Negtrundet, or something.
That was really good. That was a good. Play this podcast backwards and you'll understand exactly what you just said.
If you reverse that, it says the children will again walk free. So it means seek me no further, or the children will again walk free. So it's like this hidden message throughout the whole movie, which is really cool. And apparently, if you went and put that into the website back in the day, it would give you a deleted scene clip or something that you could watch. But,
that's fun.
Yeah. So it's a kind of a sad story of could have been a decent movie, and the studio just ruined it all. Well, way to go, studio.
Yeah.
Yeah, but watch this movie you want to. It's like, in a way, it's one of those so bad it was kind of good in some ways. There were aspects of it that I actually kind of was interested in, but I'll be honest though, the acting, it felt like a bad episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah.
About that level. And even the music, oh my word, they had like good music in it, and they made them replace the music with like Marilyn Manson crap. So it's like all this heavy metal throughout this movie, and it doesn't fit.
Yeah.
So sad.
Well, it fits like that, the demo of who would go see this movie, right?
Could, yeah.
Like
maybe.
It fits the culture of the time, the youth culture of the time was listening to this type of grunge-esque music. I mean,
but I think they would have been smarter to. So the Blair Witch Project, I'm sure a lot of youths went to it, but it was enough of a phenomenon at the time. It was huge. I remember how big it was.
Yeah,
it was enough of a phenomenon that everybody was going to see the movie.
Yeah,
so they should have tied into that everyone concept instead of just trying to focus it on the youths of the world.
Yeah.
But, so like Tomatoes is like 14% and 18%. Metacritic 15%, Letterboxd 1.9 out of 5, IMDb 4 out of 10. I'm going to give it 1 star.
Just 1 star.
It gets more than a half.
Yeah, that's a smoking hot turd. But you saved it from Smoking Hot Turd City.
Well, only because there's a good core to it, but it was abused and twisted, and that's not its fault.
That's
So
not its fault. Okay.
but it's. I'm not sure. I'm still not sure if it would have been a like good movie because the overacting and the but that was kind of the style at the time as well. So I don't know.
Right.
Again, I like you less because of this movie, but
I
you're still my
understand.
friend.
I understand.
So I won't take. I won't like not breaking up with you or anything.
Yeah, just you don't want to talk to me for a little while. I get it. You need some space. I fully understand. You just need some space. I get it. Like I said, I got to about
We were on a
11.
break.
Exactly. Yeah. We were on a break. I called dibs on Ross. I'll let you be Rachel. Yeah, I got to about what 11:30 in the movie,
Mm-hmm.
and I literally paused it and was like, I owe Steve an apology, like it, because I think in my mind I knew that it was bad, but I saw it so long ago that I completely forgot how bad. Because you see, yeah, and I watched, like I said, about 11 and a half minutes of this movie and just went, oh my gosh. I need to apologize to Steve. Because this is, I probably would try to finish it, but the likelihood of that happening is probably pretty slim. I've not finished Sissy so far.
Yeah.
And the likelihood of me actually returning to that is every week that goes by, it gets smaller and smaller.
I honestly am not mad at you for this one because it could, I mean, I found it so interesting after I found out what happened. I just found it interesting how the story of the movie, so the movie's still like hot trash, but the story around it's kind of interesting.
So is hot trash the label of that's one star then? Yeah. So smoking a turd is like half a star or less.
Right.
Hot trash is 1 star.
Or one, you could say hot garbage as well.
Hot garbage, yeah. I think we're growing that. We got to come up with some more. That's really good.
We should come up with like terms for every single like level.
I 100% am on board with this.
Okay.
100%. So yeah, smoking hot turd and then hot trash, hot garbage. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Cool. All right. Well, I guess I will go on to my movie.
Tell us more about being perfect.
Well, how much time do you have? So you assigned me the movie from 2018 called The Perfection. Mm-hmm. It has a 70% Rotten Tomatoes certified fresh score, a 57% Upturned Popcorn Bucket audience score. So those movies always interest me. Whether it is the poor audience score, good, or poor critic score, good audience score, or the reverse. Like those movies always interest me more than anything else. 2.9 out of 5 on Letterboxd, 6.2 out of 10 on IMDb. The Google synopsis for this movie says, troubled musical prodigy Charlotte returns to a prestigious music school to find star pupil Lizzie has taken her place, and the pair embark on a sinister path. Decent.
Yeah.
That's pretty decent. It doesn't give a ton away. It does give. It's borderline. Because I don't think that it should say the pair of them embarked on a sinister path.
Yeah,
the pair of them is
almost
the thing
a giveaway.
Kind of gives a little too much away. So here is the movie breakdown bullet point edition. Charlotte goes to Shanghai to see her old music teachers and she meets Lizzie there. They seemingly fall in love or something. We find that Charlotte has stepped away from the academy to help her mom, but her mom has recently passed away. Charlotte,
finally,
she says finally in the voicemail call, and I'm like, that's a bit much. Like, Lizzie and Charlotte go on a quote unquote vacation together, but Charlotte slips Lizzie some hallucinogenic medication and makes her think that her body is riddled with bugs.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's gross, dude.
Lizzie cuts her hand off.
I want to emphasize at the encouragement of Charlotte.
It was one of the wildest, most cheesy scenes in my life because she literally is just like her. You can see the bugs underneath her skin. Like there are things crawling underneath her skin, and she's like, "Look at this! What the heck is happening?" They break out of her skin. They're all surrounding her hand. They've broken out of her forearm. Are just these cockroaches are like swarming her hand. Then Charlotte is just like,
she whips out a cleaver.
You should cut off your hand. And I'm like, that's the cheesiest thing. Like she just pulls out this gigantic cleaver.
Yeah.
Like what is happening? Yeah. So Charlotte reveals that, quote unquote, this was the only way for her to get away from Anton and Paloma, who are the music instructors.
Right.
I'm calling bull on that one. The only way feels a bit much. Okay. Charlotte then leaves Lizzie in the Chinese countryside, seemingly alone to die? Question mark. It's at least alluded to that Charlotte doesn't help Lizzie get back, but also because of their affection for one another, maybe that's a part of the ploy. It's never explicitly stated either direction.
It actually is.
Oh, okay. I must have passed out, maybe. I don't know.
It's at the very, very end. It kind of does like the rewind thing. But I don't want to get ahead.
Yeah, okay. So I'm going to get to the rewind crap because I have qualms. Lizzie gets kicked out of the academy because she is now useless without her hand to play the cello. BT Dubs, forgot to say it. They're cellists, okay?
Right.
This movie is all about cellos. Lizzie goes into Charlotte's house and beats her up, and then both of them devise a plan to take down Anton and Paloma, which is a wild bullet point that I just stated out loud. By the way, I'm realizing kind of some things about this movie as I was typing all of this stuff out, that I was like, okay, I'm not necessarily a fan. They go to the academy where Lizzie fakes like she has kidnapped Charlotte. Anton, then they strap Charlotte down and are basically like, you need to play the perfection, or this bad or this quote unquote punishment will happen to you. It's not until later that it is stated that the punishment is rape.
Yeah. Which
is like, they just keep talking about this punishment, the punishment. And I'm like, what is this punishment? And you can kind of piece it together that it is some sort of abuse in that regard. But yeah, none of that is actually seen, which I'm very thankful that this movie did not take an incredibly dark, twisted place and kind of go that route.
Right. I mean, talking about it was enough.
And it was even too much. Like, I did not entirely feel comfortable myself with that being the punishment. There's a billion different punishments, and you chose this one. Like, come on, let's stop.
Well, they're twisted people, you know?
Yeah, and I get it, but also, like, come on. Just don't do that one. This is a horror movie. You could have done anything else.
Well, what's more horrific than that?
Listen, we don't need to talk about this anymore. It's uncomfortable.
Moving along.
Because there's nothing.
Sorry, nothing.
So yeah, they kidnap Lizzie, or Lizzie kidnaps Charlotte. Anton then makes her perform the perfection. And the perfection is basically like this musical piece that apparently is only played in this one room, and you have to play it perfectly. That's why it's called the perfection. And also, I'm slightly pulling at straws with that one, because it's not stated what the perfection really is.
It just means the playing perfectly. It's not necessarily a specific piece.
Well, they keep saying play the perfection, and so I just assumed that it was this music, because they keep talking about how some music gets them closer to God.
Mm.
And so I just assumed that these people, these like third generation cellists, have written this piece of music called The Perfection. And because of the quote unquote room that they're in being this
Perfectly
perfectly
audio
acoustic
acoustic. That's
chapel,
word. Yeah.
that you have to play it and once it's a privilege to get invited to play here, because that means that you are like the chosen one, blah blah blah, whatever. So there are two teachers that I purposely did not talk about in here. They die because bye-bye. And so basically
Poisons.
she performs The Perfection. I believe that she does it perfectly, and at least sounds great. And and then they go to prep Charlotte. These two teachers go to prep Charlotte, and Anton's like, tell me when she stops biting and I'll be back, which is wild. They seemingly die from what I'm going to assume is poison in the whiskey.
Yeah.
And Lizzie and Charlotte drug and stab Paloma, who's Anton's wife. And then they basically cut Anton to pieces and play the cello in front of him as one person, because in the fight with Anton, Charlotte loses her left arm, which is crazy that they just freaking cut off her left arm instead of just sutured the crap out of it and, like, with modern medical science, healed her arm. That they were like, no, we're just going to cut off your arm. Because she did technically get stabbed from like the elbow to the wrist in the form. So like, but I'm like, you mean to tell me that that damage was enough that she needed to lose her whole arm? I don't know what medicine was back in 2018, but still.
Well, they didn't want to go to the hospital. The hospital to find out what's going on.
Okay, that
they want to get cops involved.
That's only
because they're going to want
to
cut off the dude.
Okay. So Charlotte loses her left arm in the fight. Lizzie loses her hand because her right hand, because Charlotte made her cut it off. And that's the end of the movie. Okay, that's the end of the movie. The movie is over with them playing the cello in front of Anton, who has his eyes sewn shut.
Mm-hmm.
I believe his mouth may be sewn shut to a point where they maybe have like a feeding tube. I don't know that the feeding tube goes up his nose or it goes into his mouth. He no longer has arms from like the elbows down, and he doesn't have legs from the knee, from like mid thigh down.
Yep.
He's sitting naked with a diaper basically on, and they played some cello music in front of him, and that's the end of the movie. And I'm like,
Lizzie plays the left hand, and Charlotte plays the right hand.
It's okay. So now that we've gotten through that breakdown of the movie, some notes and observations.
Yes.
Google calls this movie a horror musical, and that's dumb. Don't do that.
That's not a horror musical.
It's not a horror musical. Okay. Just because they play the cello in this movie does not make it a musical. Because when I think of a musical, I think of Hairspray or The Greatest Showman. That's a musical, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anna, have you seen Anna and the Apocalypse?
No, you told me to watch it, and that is a
musical horror movie.
Yes, no one breaks into song,
right,
in this. So yeah, Google needs to get their crap together. Just have somebody change it. That's it. I kind of had a hard time with this movie. I did need to hit the 10-second skip button a couple of times because there were parts of the story that were kind of boring.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the scenes kind of drug out for a little longer than I wanted them to. You know, in the no dialogue kind of scenes, they were just there were some things that were not entirely necessary. I'm not too sure that the rewind feature added anything to the movie. I think it's a cool concept for a movie like Vantage Point when you show the same kind of thing from different angles.
Mm-hmm.
So you in the movie Vantage Point, they will show basically what happened and then rewind it and show you the exact same thing from a different vantage point, from a different
Right.
perspective. And then by the end, you grab the whole context of what's happening. So like a movie like that, this rewind feature is cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that it fit this movie. I think that you could have just showed us, because you showed us and led us to believe that or like the bug thing.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first time that you really saw it. So like you
Right.
watched basically the entire movie so far, like half the movie.
Right.
They go on, they like fall in love, have a one night stand, and are having fun together. They wake up in the morning, go on vacation together. They're exploring China or whatever they're doing. Get on the bus. Lizzie's not feeling too well. Thinks that she is throwing up bugs and has bugs crawling up in her. Charlotte gives her a knife. She cuts her hand off. Pause. Rewind. You find out that Charlotte was giving her hallucinogenic medication. Then, like the second time it happened, you come to find out that the reason Charlotte did this was because she realized that Anton and Paloma were basically, the way that they were punishing these girls in this cello school was through
Sexual abuse.
So she wanted to say, and I'm like, that could have been the movie. You didn't need to rewind. Right. This movie was interesting enough that you didn't need to you didn't need to mislead us a couple of times with these red herrings. You could have,
I wouldn't. It's not really a red herring. It's more like it showed it from originally showed it from kind of Lizzie's perspective, it's actually showing the bugs, and then like they could have done flashbacks, like here's what actually happened, without the whole it was kind of the cheese ball. I felt like to actually show the fast rewind, like everything going in reverse.
Yeah,
that's not necessary. But then it showed it from Charlotte's perspective of how she was pretending like there were bugs and stuff. That was interesting to me because that's what really happened.
Right.
And same thing in the later one, but the actual showing the reverse stuff was weird.
I thought that it could have, that aspect of it could have been done better. I thought that you could have just had a straightforward movie without any of that rewinding vantage point kind of stuff, because you made us think one thing and I don't mind that. I don't mind thinking one thing and then something else happens, and there's a kind of a twist to it. But because it happened a couple of times, I was semi annoyed with it. Because I'm
I can see that.
It wasn't bad. I thought that particular, I don't know. It didn't fit to me.
No, I get you. I get you.
Yeah. My final thoughts on this movie. I don't think this is all that good. Okay. It's not as bad as Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2. It's not that bad.
No.
But it's definitely I'm also coming off the heels of Fresh, which was great. I thought was great.
Mm-hmm.
So the next movie in line, not that great. I actually counted currently 107,134 reviews on this movie as far as Letterboxd is concerned.
That many?
Yeah. 24% of them are 3-star movies, or 3-star is a 3-star rating. That is the highest amount. It's 25,000 reviews. 3% of those reviews are 4.5 stars. 5% of them are 5 stars. A couple of times on this podcast, I've said that a particular movie has good bones, but just needs some good direction or some tweaks to the script. I won't be saying that about this movie. I had a hard time caring about the characters, and things and situations in this movie just kind of seem to be pretty surface.
Mm-hmm.
And there wasn't a depth of motivation. I get, obviously, like, I'm not saying that sexual assault is not anything to shake a stick at, because it obviously is. But there wasn't a depth to that. I think that they alluded to some nefarious thing happening, but like, I think that could have been hammered home a little bit more to make you care and be invested a little bit more, that they shut this whole business down. But yeah, I wasn't in this movie. Didn't really make me get invested in the characters as much as I wanted. So for me, 2 stars.
Okay.
I'm going to give this movie 2 stars. 1 for the movie and 1 because, Steve, you recommended that I watch this movie. And so
not bad.
It's not necessarily great, but I wouldn't say that this movie is not worth watching. I think people should watch this movie, and at 107,000 reviews on Letterboxd, like, watch the movie. You can have a different opinion. This wasn't this wasn't Book of Shadows bad, to where like nobody needs to watch the movie anymore.
Right.
But yeah,
I feel like it's one of those movies that it's better if you don't think about it.
Yeah, you know, and I have to think about it.
I know.
I couldn't just be mindless. But that's the majority of movies that I watch. I have a hard time really being mindless and just watching them, unless they're really good, and then I don't have to do that. Like when I watched the first episode of Eric, mindless. Because it was the first episode was so good, and I was looking for different things, and I could just enjoy watching it. The same thing with Fresh. Like I just turned off my mind because the movie was good. And there were moments that kind of snapped me back into reality, like the fact that the title card didn't play for like 33 minutes in the movie. Like that snapped me back into reality and be like, holy crap, we haven't seen one of those, and what? Yeah. But this one, I don't know. I did not. I think you updated your score at like 4 stars, but
I watched it again. The second time I thought it was better.
Yeah.
So as a horror movie, as a thing to like say this is a horrible situation, this is a scary thing, I think it to me it works. And even the rewind, like the actual showing the rewinding of the thing, that's a bit. I mean, I feel like they could have. I agree with you. They could have done that differently. They could have shown like, but what really happened was this sort of thing.
Right.
So that was a bit cheeseball. I will give it that. But I felt like the overall it was a very good. Just like if you go with the flow horror and like kind of commentary on like sexual assault, and it's like great revenge at the end. Like the dude gets all sliced up, and that's disturbing enough at the end to make it like, I don't know. I liked it. I think it's I think I liked it because it's so disturbing.
Yeah, and I didn't need it to be. I didn't need this movie to be disturbing. Like it was already disturbing enough. Okay, I really wrestle with this because I don't know. I don't think. Dude, I have so many thoughts, and I don't know. I wanted. I don't like the fact that rape was or that sexual assault in general was the punishment. I think that they could have chosen a different punishment and showed you that punishment behind the scenes, just to get you invested in what Lizzie and Charlotte were doing. But you also didn't entirely find out what Charlotte's motivation was until halfway through the movie.
Yeah, that's true.
And because they quote unquote showed it from Lizzie's vantage point, they led you to believe that Charlotte just simply did this because she was jealous. And then they pulled the rug out from underneath you and were like, no, she's trying to save her. And I'm like, why did we need to go down the road of the
yeah, exactly. So yeah,
I didn't care at that point. I just stopped caring because I'm like, what's real in this movie?
Yeah, I mean, the more you talk about it, the more you make me not like it.
I'm sorry.
It's one of those, like, when I found out it was about sexual assault, I'm like, kill the guy, just do it. And then they
just
tortured the guy, and I'm like, oh, that's even better, you know.
And I thought it was worse. I thought that was worse because I'm like, what I wanted when Lizzie was beating him with that fire poker.
Yeah.
Turn the fire poker around to the hook end. Because she hits him once. This is what you did for me. Boom. This is for what you did to Charlotte. And then this is what you did for everybody else. Turn the fire poker around on that third time and stick it in his head, and both of you sail off into the sunset.
Be done.
But no, you guys cut him up, put him in the prominent chair, and played as one person the cello. And I'm like, freaking psychopaths. Like, that's worse. That's worse than what was, like, you've basically become the enemy. You've not rid yourself of the trauma. You've just become.
Maybe that's part of the.
And I just
the commentary. I don't know.
I guess maybe I don't know. I just.
So everything you're saying, I totally get. And
everybody's also allowed to have their own opinion too. Like, I'm not trying to.
No, we have to agree, Zach.
No, we don't.
You do all the time. Everyone.
No, I don't want people to necessarily always agree with me, because then it's no good for ego.
Well, then we'd all be insane. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Did I say that out loud?
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway.
Well, thanks for going through it. Thanks for watching the whole thing. Appreciate
it wasn't bad. I did there were aspects of it that did draw me in. Because I finished it. But yeah, I just thought that but again, I was also comparing it to other movies and things that I thought could be better about the movie itself. And yeah, 2 stars. Maybe I'll go 2.5 stars. We'll just go full mid.
Either way, yeah,
full mid on this movie, because it wasn't necessarily bad, but again, I thought the motivations could have been better to make me care a little bit more about what was really going on. And the fact that they chose to just go, okay, this is what happened. No, this is what happened. No, wait a minute, this is what happened.
Yeah, I did like
straightforward.
That. Yeah, I do like that aspect of it. Like I didn't expect that to happen. I like that kind of a twist sort of thing, and that's where they're going for. But I really do think that it would have been better had they let you know what the true motivations were early on. Like, if they'd set it up as though Charlotte's like this sort of cracked person who, like, she was damaged by the abuse, and so she thought that the only way to stop the abuse was more abuse, basically.
Right.
Like getting the girl to cut her arm off. And you knew the whole thing, like, you'd understand her motivation, but you'd be like, whoa, don't do that, and I think it could have been a different movie with the same plot, same everything, just show what actually happened.
Right.
Well,
because they did this kind of thing with Get Out. So, like, same actress, by the way.
Oh, yeah, it is.
By the way, let's be honest with ourselves. I'm just going to be honest with you. Get Out slightly ruined this particular actress for me.
Really?
Dude, I cannot see. I can't. Every time I look, when she was in M3 again.
Yeah. You can't
And
not see.
And I could not see her Get Out character. Like I had,
Oh.
it's because it's such a. I think that was my first impression of that actress.
Yeah, first time I've seen her. Yeah,
And
she's good.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
If I have to rank her out of those 3 movies, if I have to rank her performance, Get Out number 1, M3 again number 2, and then The Perfection number 3. Like,
Yep.
But I lost what I was going to say now that I've derailed myself.
Sorry. You said it ruined that actress for you.
Yeah. No, there was a whole other reason. It was about Get Out. So this slightly played the exact same kind of thing ish as Get Out, wherein the parents in the movie Get Out were the cello teachers in The Perfection. But what the movie Get Out did was reveal in an appropriate pace that there was some nefarious stuff going on.
Right.
And they were upfront about what that stuff was. When you saw the silent auction for, and just the...
Yeah.
She prepped him for like, my dad's going to talk about Obama and like my dad's going to be all like civil rightsy and like all of that. Like she prepped for the fact that this was going to happen. And so you were already as an audience member on edge and in his, like looking at it from his perspective. This movie could have taken a very similar path, not maybe the exact copy paste, but a very similar path. Even though technically Get Out, I think, came out after?
I think.
When did Get Out come out?
Yeah, it did.
So, still, it could have taken a somewhat of a similar path, even though I think this movie came out before Get Out. And I would, because I was fine with the way, with the pacing and the reveal and the twist of Get Out. And this reminded me very much of that kind of twist reveal, because that could just be the twist. The twist didn't need to be the revealing why Charlotte was doing this to Lizzie and the bugs and the what. Like, we didn't. I don't know. So
this is a year after. This is a year after Get Out.
Okay, so it literally could have followed the same thing, but still, I'm now officially being overly critical about it, and it's a fine movie. I rated it on Letterboxd 2.5, and that's my official review.
Well, let's pick movies for next time.
Well, are we doing that thing from?
Oh, right.
So you told me that you asked ChatGPT what was the worst horror movies,
the dumbest
horror movies in the last 20 years. Yes, and it told you that Birdemic,
right,
and The Happening were the dumbest movies. So I was like, yeah, we should just assign both of those movies to ourselves and then just talk about both of those movies next episode.
Sure. Yeah, let's do that.
So, yeah.
Have you seen The Happening? Is that a Shyamalan?
I saw it once, but a long time ago, to the point where I could not tell you specifically what The Happening is about anymore.
Okay.
Yeah. I've never seen Birdemic, but
okay,
I'm interested, because it's called Birdemic, Shock and Terror.
Right.
And slightly looks like Sharknado.
Well, how about you do Birdemic and I'll do The Happening?
Oh, I'm going to watch both of them.
Okay.
You do whatever you're going to do. I'm going to watch both of them.
I see. Okay. I thought you wanted to like split it up.
Yeah,
I'll watch them both. Yeah.
Yeah. My thought was that we would assign each other both of the movies. So yeah, we double it up this week so that we can talk about both. We can each talk about both of the movies.
Perfect.
Since they are completely ridiculous. Dumbest movies, according to ChatGPT, of the last 20 years.
Yeah. I'm down.
Cool. Okay.
Thanks for chatting about stupid movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
I will. See you later.
All right, listeners. That's a wrap for another episode of Horrors Yet Unseen. Thanks for joining us.
And we'd love for you to become part of the conversation. Just drop us a voicemail at 1-216-202-5495 or email us at horrorsyetonunseen@gmail.com. And keep up with the latest by following us on Instagram. That handle is at horrorsyetonunseenpod. We'd also appreciate it if you like and review our show on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Your support means a lot to us. See you next time.